Welcome to Expedient Means with Lin Wei on Time Monk Radio. Lin currently resides in China and is the founder and head teacher of Guizhen Philo-Cultural Society. He has extensive experience in Buddhist and Taoist meditation, Qigong, martial arts, and traditional Chinese medicine. To learn more about Lin, please visit his website at www.guyzhenhey.net. Tonight, Lin will be discussing the idea of reprogramming.
Hello everyone, I'm Lin Wei. Thanks for joining us tonight. Tonight we're going to be discussing something many of us know about. The methods, probably not. But the idea is reprogramming. Now, what are we reprogramming? Well, our mind. We're looking at all of the things within our mind. And how can I say all of the things in our mind when the mind is so vast? There's no limitation. So how can it be all of the things? Well, when I'm saying all of the things, I mean what you are consciously aware of. But that which is not in your conscious mind, that which you are not readily mindful of, I'm also talking about those too. So this reprogramming, this word, it's a general word. It's something that everyone would be able to associate with. So I use that. If I just call it cultivation of the non-discriminating mind, not many people can feel connected to it. But basically we're cultivating the mind to allow us to change. Okay? And what are we changing? We're changing as much as we can. And why do we need to change as much as we can? Well, that's for you to answer, not for me to answer. Nor is it for anyone else to answer. Excuse me. So, this reprogramming, okay, whether you're a cultivator or not, or you're just starting to cultivate, and even if this is the first time you're hearing our show and you don't know what the word cultivation means, well, it basically means cultivating the mind or developing concentration and investigating the mind, okay? Now, this reprogramming, as we are going to talk about, is looking at changing your foundational thinking, okay? Now, what is the foundational thinking? Foundational thinking is what you base your views of the world on, okay? What you've been either taught as a child, from your parents, from your friends, excuse me, from your school, okay? From the books you read, the TV you watch, the music you listen to, okay? These things from childhood make up our foundational thinking as years go by and we grow older. Okay, now why do we need to change that? Like I said before, that's your choice, and that's for you to answer. Your choice to change, and for you to answer why. My personal opinion on why we would want to change our foundational thinking, well, we would want to do so in order to allow what most people would understand as abundance. Now, this word abundance has been used left and right and up and down, in and out, all over the place. And it creates this strange idea. I'm not going to go into these strange ideas. I'm sure many already have felt what I mean by strange ideas about abundance, you know. When I say abundance, I just mean there is no obstruction in your life that brings you sickness to a great degree. There's no obstruction in your life that stops you or hinders your own personal spiritual growth, your own financial, well, quote unquote, financial success, also relationships, okay, and also how you view yourself in the world. So that's what I call abundance, but I don't call that usually. I'm just using that word for today's talk. Okay, now let's look at this word foundational thinking. It's a big word, because these are our views that we hold of the world. And where are these things stored? Where is the root, the seed of all our foundational thinking? Okay, we're going to use the term foundational thinking. Where are these seeds of our views and our attachments and our dislikes and our likes and so on and so forth? Where are they? Well, we're going to call it the mind ground for now, okay? Just using this term, mind ground. It's the very, 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 very deepest part of us that stores everything. We'll call it also the storehouse. It stores everything that we are influenced by inside. And it stores everything that we base our views of the world upon. Now, views of the world include views of our parents, family, friends, loved ones, wife, girlfriend, boyfriend, husband, whatever. Friends, basically everything we go by in the world. These thoughts, these seeds are stored in the mind ground, and our reaction to the things that we experience, okay, you can say, come from the mind ground, but they don't originate there. They're stored there. They're planted there. Why are they planted there? Well, everything gets mushed all over the place in our mind, and whatever we originally had an affinity with, a strong feeling with, just lets us know that we had a seed of that thing in there. For instance, I could listen to a song on the radio, and I just totally don't feel connected to that song, and the things I am not connected to, I just turn off. Yet I'll have a person with me in the passenger seat of the car who would really enjoy that song because they have an affinity with either listening to the singer's voice, they have affinity to the message in the song, so they want to hear that. They want to nourish that seed. Okay? Now remember, whenever we have a like, a dislike, okay, which would go into very deep views or ideas of the world, whatever we have a like or a dislike, that is the expression or the process of nourishing the seeds of preference. Maybe one person prefers watermelon juice while another person prefers lemon juice. Why? When they were young, one person with the watermelon juice had an interesting or very delightful, quote-unquote delightful experience with friends and family and gatherings with watermelons. So they kind of tend to go towards watermelon juice while the other one had lemons. Okay? Now, the idea of being delighted by certain things or even disliking certain things is stored in the mind ground. And whenever we have a feeling for these things or towards certain things, even people or situations or whatever, when we entertain that feeling, we nourish that seed. And then it starts to sprout more roots. That means we want things or don't want things even stronger. Okay, and then we develop ideas and notions about those things. And that further helps to nourish those seeds, which sprout roots, which start to grow the tree, and then the tree sprouts leaves, and, grows branches, leaves, and then fruits. Okay, and then withers and dies. And then it starts again. Our thoughts are just like that. Our reactions, what we send out when we experience certain things, which is our reaction, we'll call it an outflow. Then how we react also nourishes those seeds, or nourishes those roots, nourishes the mind ground for the things that we have planted in them. And whatever we have planted in there, whatever's ripe and ready to start sprouting some roots, it's going to grab. And then we have to face the karma or the outcome based on the growth or the nourishment or the cultivation of whatever's in our mind, or that seed in the mind ground. So you see, everything we think, say, and do is our responsibility. And whenever anyone else says, thinks, and does to us is their responsibility. Yet, what we say and do to other people, though is our responsibility, the way they react is theirs. But the fact that we give them the opportunity to react is ours. That's our responsibility. So everything you think, everything you assume, shapes your world. And what is the world made up of? It's not made up of, the planet and the sky and all those things. No, it's made up of whatever's in your mind. Whatever you attach to, whatever you entertain, more so. that is your world. If you're a drinker, alcohol is your world. If you're a smoker, cigarettes are your world, whatever you smoke. If you're a movie goer, movies are your world, and the reality of the movies and the things that happen in there, that's what takes up your mind. Same thing with television or anything else. If you're a book reader, the same thing. So when we go into the mind ground, we have to do it with something called meditation, which brings us to the next thing called settling the mind. Okay, these are steps. Now we're going to lay out ways to do this reprogramming. So you have the mind ground, which stores everything we've ever felt, experienced, basically. Whether it's this lifetime or past ones. We don't know. Whether you believe in past life or not, that's okay. It doesn't destroy the fact that the mind holds everything. Okay, the mind ground, so to say. So how do we get to sifting through the ground here? How do we move around in this field of thoughts, this field of afflictions, this field of all our experiences? Because what happens is these roots intertwine and they become combinations. It's not one or two combinations, it's multiple. So many people feel at one moment they can change emotions, change expressions so quickly without feeling attached to it. That's not being unattached. That's being caught in the knot of many different types of experiences or things that are rooted in the mind ground. And usually the word for it in the cultivation world is called afflictions, things that take away your energy. Things that take away your energy and deplete you, that harm you, harm others. Don't think happiness doesn't harm others or in yourself. See, anything in the extreme is very bad. And it's not that the extreme is just extreme for one but not extreme for another. Not in that view. I'm talking about a person laughing so hard that their lower back starts to hurt and they start crying and their chest hurts and their abdomen hurts. That's the extreme of laughing. Though it's healthy to laugh very hearty and very great and very good, but when you do it so much in one shot, you can harm the body. That's not good. So what? The pain and the uncomfortableness lasts for what? A few seconds, maybe a minute or two, and you're like, oh, okay, that's it. But that's just the muscular expression of what has happened inside. Things get influenced and then they change. Talking about how the organs change, energy in the body. Well, how do we go about sifting through and finding what's going on in this mind ground of ours, in this mind of ours? We call it settling the mind, and we do that with meditation. Now, recently I had written about meditation, a very short little paragraph or so, saying that people had thought meditation would be the actual idea of us sitting down, legs crossed, full lotus or half lotus, or even just doing their everyday things, being absorbed in what they're doing, indifferent to everything around them. People like to say, everything is my meditation. You know, I'm always meditating. And people say so with this authority. You know, they like to say so with authority. They like to say, hey, I'm great because I'm meditating all the time. So if I'm meditating all the time, well, you're talking about meditation. I'm doing it all the time. Well, there's a difference here. You see, many seem to think that just because they're absorbed in what they're doing, that they are in a state of meditation, or even the state of meditation. But that's a false notion. See, absorption is one thing, but obliviousness is another. See, meditation is the death of thinking, just for the sake of saying, and I'm quoting Osho on this one, death of thoughts. Okay? It is not the process of sitting and applying concentration. Applying concentration is the process to arrive at meditating. Meditation is the non-production of thoughts. It's the nothing arising and nothing said to be not arising. See, when people say everything is a meditation, like we were talking about just now, is that they have no concentration power. Their desires control their senses, and their senses fuel their desires. It is quite obvious that not only the process of arriving at meditation has been taken for meditation, but the arrival of meditation hasn't even been tasted at all. You see? People mistaken the process for meditation, but they have never actually tasted meditation. And you can tell because they fall victim to their desires, they fall victim to their emotions, they fall victim to their mind, to their thoughts. They get taken left and right, and they have to boast, or they get angry, or greedy, or do ignorant things. That's not fun at all. So here, meditation, non-discrimination, or non-discriminating meditation. Basically, it's sitting down, because we're going to talk about sitting meditation here. You're sitting down. If you're comfortable with full lotus, legs crossed over each other, or half lotus, or just sitting off a chair, reclining back. It's not falling asleep. Meditation is not sleeping. Now, excuse me, you're applying your concentration on something. Let's say, just for starters, you have a bad temper. Okay, a person A has a bad temper, and they want to know why. Well, it's kind of difficult to figure out why right away. So they sit down, relax a bit, and say, I have a very strong temper. The first question to ask is, why? Why do I have a strong temper? So now what do you do about it? I have a question. Why? Okay, who's going to answer the question? Psychiatrist? A therapist? Probably they can help you come to your answer. It's still you answering. But at this point, you're not going to them right now. You're going right to yourself. So you sit there, and you relax. You close your eyes and you ask yourself, why do I get angry? And then you inhale and exhale. You just pay attention to your breath, in and out. With the knowing, the affirmative knowing, I call it. It's a knowing that, excuse me, this affirmation knowing, this affirmative knowing is the knowing that you will get your answer. You don't have to sit there, am I going to get my answer? You don't have to be in doubt. You're in the state of knowing that you have your answer already. So you're almost as though, or you are as though you already have your answer. And you have to bring that feeling out. You see, imagination is the key to all creating things. And we have to use our imagination. Everything has been created with an imagination. So when someone says you're living in the clouds, sit there and smile and go, okay, whatever. Because that's how everything is made. You think it. You imagine it. You believe in it. You go and make it happen. That's how all our little trinkets and all our technology is made. People using their creative mind. So you sit there and sit in this feeling of already knowing why you're angry or why you have a heavy temper. And you focus on your breath. Inhale and exhale through the nose. Try to bring your abdomen into play here. And just do natural breathing, which is just an inhale and an expansion of the abdomen, and exhale and a contraction on the abdomen. Don't have to worry about detailed methods of practice for this breathing. Just focus on that for now. Now as you're sitting there breathing, that's all you need to do. You're in the state of knowing that you already have your answer as to why you get angry. Then you might start seeing things or feeling things or remembering things. Okay? And you're going to remember situations that made you get angry. Now the first idea that pops up, the first vision, the first emotion, the first memory, that is not the why. Your reasoning as to why you feel you could have been angry, or the reasoning that tells you why you can be angry, that is not your answer. The first answer, the 100th answer, the 2000th answer, the 50,000th answer is not your answer. You want to go to a point where you are stuck without any reasoning as to why you are able to be angry. What gives you the right to be angry? You are without that right, or you are without that reasoning. You see, you're going to a point where your reasoning mind, your false thinking mind is totally not in the say-so position of your life. Now you start to get your answer. Now you start to see things when you were a child. And you didn't come up with the notion. Maybe you saw your parents arguing. Or maybe you experienced other people in the street as passing by in an argument, and you felt whoever seemed to be most aggressive was the right way. Maybe you watched a TV show, or watched a movie, or heard a story, or read a story. Maybe you were intrigued by the characters of whoever was around you in the story or outside around you in the street, especially the most aggressive one. And maybe that's what brought you your strength to give you the justification for the reasoning to be angry. Well, that's pretty much very close to the answers to why you get angry. Now, at some point when you reach the point of getting somewhat down to the nitty-gritty of your realization as to why you get angry, and your reasoning has been eradicated as to what allows you to have the justification to be angry, now you ask yourself, how am I going to change? Which brings us now to the next section, the next part. So you see, I'm just using anger as an example. You should do that question for everything. Why do I crave sweet things? Why do I crave different types of flavored sodas? Why do I crave ice cream? Why do I crave cola? Why do I crave coconuts? You know, why am I greedy for red-colored socks? I don't know. Okay, why do I always say the wrong thing at the wrong time? Ignorance, right? There you go. Why do I feel low self-esteem? Why do I let others push me around? Why do I close up and lock my heart energy up and close my emotions up to people and put everything inside of me? Why do I tend to not speak up? See, these things are examples. Okay, you can use that as a base to ask yourself questions. Basically looking in the mirror saying, what do I want to change in my life? Okay? So the changing method is recognizing your habits with your body, your mouth, and your mind. What you do with your body, what you do with your mouth, and what you do with your mind. Your speech. Okay? What you do with your body, your actions. What you do with your mind, your thoughts. Your thoughts and your emotions are hand in hand. Your emotions are felt through your body. With your body, your mind thinks something, your body reacts. Your body feels something, your mind reacts. They are best of buddies. Your mouth, well, speaks everything you think you feel, everything you assume should be said. So it's your thinking, it's your mouth, and it's your body you have to be very aware of in terms of the habits that you have with them. And that which kind of influences or strengthens your habits of greed, your habits of anger, and your habits of ignorance, well, those things you would want to change. Whatever brings you sadness, whatever brings you to feel uncomfortable, those things need to be changed. Whatever brings you the feelings of failure, sadness, hatred, you have to change those. Whatever brings you happiness, understand the origin of it. And if it's a happiness that brings you stability, then maintain it and nourish it. If it's that joy that brings you comfort, without depending on people, for things, for acceptance, okay, then nourish it. That's what you have to look for. So recognizing the habits in the body, in the mouth, in the mind. Once you get a hang of that, and you do it slow, these small things here and there. Don't go for the big things right away. The big things will feel like a boulder is on you, and you can't move. You don't want a mountain on you right away. You're trying to get the mountain off of you already, and that's already hard. Right? So you go slow. Take it nice and slow. It's basically recognizing what you consider to be your faults. And if you can't find out what your faults are, just look at how people treat you. Look at how you think about you. And look at how you view everyone else. Then you'll be able to find out your faults. When you find out what brings you discomfort, when you find what helps you empower greed, anger, and ignorance, what helps you empower that which takes away your essence, your energy, and your spirit, forgive yourself. Even if it's other people who have done things to you and you become angry and you found justification in being angry with them and you hold a grudge or you regret knowing them or you just can't forgive them. It's not their problem. They didn't hand you the anger. You accepted it. You accepted it because there was a seed of that. Maybe you created a notion, an idea about that specific mannerism of anger. And finally it came out. Well, just forgive yourself. Say, I apologize to me. I am so sorry I put myself through all of this. I could have made so much better of a person. Or could have created a much more wholesome, uplifting lifestyle. Whatever it is, you have the right words to say to yourself. Because if you don't put yourself down, don't let others do it. But the only way to not let others put you down is for you to not put you down. So recognize your faults, whether they are to yourself or to others, and forgive yourself. Say, I apologize to me, and I forgive me for being these specific ways. And when you do that, you take full responsibility for all your actions. And you try to change yourself so you don't do those again. And when you see those things in other people, you won't judge them. You won't judge them because you know what it is to be in that state of mind. You know what it is to be in that world of greed, anger, and ignorance and all those other combination emotions and experiences that come from it. Because you start to awaken to realization. You start to awaken to this realization of you are the creator of your world. And we have to change that which causes pain, suffering, that which basically takes you and throws you all over the place into a whirlwind. Okay, you want to be able to change that. You don't want to be taken all over the place. You want to be stable. When you've gotten to that point, you go into something I'll call nourishing contemplation. Like an absorption contemplation. And you're basically nourishing your mind ground while contemplating or planting the seeds for that which is uplifting for you. Seeds of thought, the seeds of cause, okay? Of that which will bring you the result of what it is you're looking to plant. If you're looking to plant seeds of joy and peace and stability, you plant those seeds. What does that mean to you? And if you don't know what the idea that you're looking for really means, then research a little. I mean, we have the internet, and the technology now is amazing. We can get almost anything we wish to know online. So use the technology for the benefit of you, which then benefits everyone else, which in turn just benefits you as well. And research, what does it mean to feel successful? Well, you get people's point of view, but don't take everyone's point of view as the end-all be-all, or any one person's as the end-all be-all. Just use them as an idea, as just a little framework, just to get you to get an idea of what success means, or what full joyfulness means, or, happiness means. Just an idea, so you get to work on changing the views you held already about it. And then you'll come to realize that joy is not just without its opposite, sadness or happiness. So say happiness. See, if you have happiness, then you'll have sadness. So if you want true happiness, it's a happiness without its opposite. Therefore, there's nothing that can discriminate on that happiness. Therefore, happiness is non-existent. And if happiness is non-existent, so is unhappiness. Therefore, both are cancelled out. And there's an overall happiness that is not based on relativity. We just call it happiness, just for the sake of saying. But it's without its relative emotion. So you contemplate what you want in your mind. If you're a smoker and you want to quit smoking, you imagine what it is like to not smoke. Not your notions of what it is to not smoke, like, oh my God, I need a cigarette. Not like that. But you put in your mind, envisioning you doing your daily activities, going throughout your days without a cigarette, without nicotine, without tobacco, without any of that. And you make situations in your mind, you visualize situations in your mind, and you give yourself emotions in your mind about what it is like without the cigarette. Empowerment, or empower yourself. You give yourself empowering images, and you create these emotions with your visions that you make in your mind, and you contemplate them. And this is your life, and this is you. That you're sitting reading a book, and there is no cigarette for billions of miles away from you. There's no cigarette at all anywhere. And you don't have 1 ounce of a withdrawal. You don't have 1 ounce of thinking about it. You're just sitting there reading your book. There is no idea, no thought whatsoever of a cigarette. And you're just reading your book. Inhaling the wonderful air. Sitting there and just being. And you sit there and nourish that vision so strongly. That's contemplating. And you just sit. When you contemplate, you are sitting in the state of being that specific thing. And eventually, it'll add up. That strength, that contemplation will develop the contemplation develops your concentration. And that adds strength and substance into your mind and into that vision that you're holding. And eventually, it develops so much strength, or that seed is nourished, that ground is nourished with such good concentration power, that the seed sprouts a root. And all of a sudden you find yourself slowly not caring for a cigarette. Right? And then what happens? The root starts to grow stronger, longer, starts to intertwine, starts to knot up with other roots around you. And those roots were the activities you did with everything, with a cigarette. And it starts to change those activities, those feelings of those activities. And then you start to sprout a tree or a flower. And now you're less and less without cigarettes. And then the flower blossoms, and you are just without any feeling for your addiction, and you can go on with your life without having to do that, without having to smoke. But you do need to apply yourself daily and be mindful of your body, mouth, and mind, and your reactions and the things you experience when you're wanting to change that which you have always done. Remember, it's habit. So we are making new habits, all the while nourishing the mind ground with those new habits. Okay? So that's contemplating. Nourishing contemplation. And I use tobacco as an example, but you can put anything in there. Next stage, next step is accepting yourself. Now, after you have observed and become aware of all these things, these views in your mind, all up to this point, you have to accept yourself. Okay, I'm this way. Maybe I'm a total spaz. Maybe I'm a very popular person, you know? Why would I want to change being popular? Well, look at the notions, the views that you created because you're popular. Now, how much stuff do you do because you want to maintain your status of popularity? You see? So, you have to accept yourself. And in accepting yourself, you're changing your views about how you were taught to believe you are. That's a very important thing. How you were taught to believe you are something. If you were, well, we are all children at one point. Children meaning small physical body, with a mind that is very easily influenced. Growing up as a child, perhaps you had ideas you wanted to grow up and work as a psychologist, or a medical doctor, or an acupuncturist, a Chinese medicine doctor, right? Maybe you wanted to be a hands-on healer, spiritual healer. Maybe you wanted to read tarot cards, or maybe you wanted to run in the Olympics in a race. Maybe you wanted to play in the Olympics in any of those sports. And someone told you when you were 5 or 6 or 7 years old, when you had these notions of, I want to be this and I want to be that, whatever it was you wanted to be. And someone says, no, that's pretty much impossible. You know how hard it is to get into those things. You know what that does to you? That tells you that you just do not have the ability. You would never have the potential to do those things at all. That you don't have the conditions to do those things. Now, perhaps you never had the karmic conditions to become an Olympic runner. But because you had the idea, the notion passed you, maybe you watched it on TV, or you heard something about Olympics, Olympic sports people, athletes, on the radio. And you said, that would be cool. And someone shut down your idea of it being cool for you. And you decided to, okay, I believe you. You're right. It's too much work. That means you just didn't have the affinities to fulfill that specific idea. That's okay, though. But what if you decided, hey, I'm going to try anyway. I'm going to work on that and research and learn about how I can be an Olympic runner. Now that means you had the seeds nourished in the mind ground for this condition. Or that condition was nourished so much that no matter what someone's saying, you're still going to push through for it. Now they can tell you, people can tell you, whoever they are to you, oh, you're crazy, it's going to be hard work, you're never going to succeed, there's too much competition for it. But success is not in the end result, success is going through it all. You know? That's the success. You're getting to actually do something. You're going to be on your path. You are on your path towards living in the mannerism in being in the Olympics. And as a runner, or whatever it is you want to do with your life. Now, on one hand, we have one that says, hey, that's too hard. You can never do that. You know how much skill that takes? That's too difficult. Now it tells you you have no skill. And on the other hand, you have people who say it and you still believe you can do it. That's conditions in the mind ground. That's your mind. That's the seeds in your mind. Isn't that interesting? Now people tell us all types of ideas about who we are supposed to think we are. Well, now you've been contemplating your mind, investigating your mind, and now you're coming up to all these notions about who you are. And where did you get them from? It's not human nature to just all of a sudden think you're wonderful or you're terrible. It's human conditioning. Socialism. Not socialism like politics, socialism. I mean sociology, and it's the behaviorisms of people in society that influence the mind. So, we have to investigate. Who do we think we are? And who was I told I should be? We have to change that. When I was young, 6 years old, 5, 6 years old, I wanted to be a police officer. I thought it was the best thing to do, to save people, teach them, protect people, and watch out for them. I really wanted to do that. And we had in the 80s, 1985, I was around 5 years old, we had toys where you had packages of like plastic handcuffs, plastic water gun inside, a little baton, a plastic baton, and a little cap. And you can dress up like a police officer, not for Halloween, just daily stuff, And I loved it. I was like, ooh, I'm going to protect people. And my father told me, you should be careful. The world is not all grand and happy for people to protect them. There's people who don't want you to do any protecting because they're the ones who want to harm other people, and they'll try to stop you from doing that. It's a little dangerous. But if you think you need to do that, that's okay. I would hope you would choose something much safer for your own physical sake and your family's sake. So I decided, I guess I'm not going to be a police officer. I don't regret him saying that at all. I was 6 years old, 5 years old in 1985. So I was thinking, I really wanted to do that, but I guess there's another way to help people without having to put my life on the line in the manner of maybe going outside and then maybe getting hurt. I didn't understand what that meant, though. I was just trying to contemplate different ways to do what I really wanted to do. But at that point, at 5 years old, I wanted to just help people. Then I wanted to be a lawyer. I was around 7 years old now. No, it was a veterinarian. My dog died, and I believe that the veterinarian didn't do specific things he should have done. And for some reason, somehow I knew what he should have done. Maybe he did do it. I don't know. I wasn't there. But I asked, and they just all looked at me in the doctor's office, the veterinarian's office, with this wide eyes. Like, how would he know that that is something one should do or could do for an animal? Well, I had my ideas. And then I wanted to be a veterinarian to help animals, because I felt the man didn't help my animal, so I wanted to help others' animals. And I said, well, as time went on, I really wanted to be that. Maybe by 8 years old, 9 years old. 8 years old, I remember. It was just 1 year. And my father never said anything. My parents didn't say yes or no. They just said, okay, that's good. Okay, that's noble. And then I felt, well, maybe a lawyer would be even better, because there's people who are hurt, maybe get misunderstood, that could use a good talker, someone who can know, who can get the fine points and strong details of situations and behavior. And I was 8 years old thinking this, and then that would be good. And no one tried to hinder that path either. They said, wow, that's pretty good. You need to do a lot of studies and you need to work a lot about that. That's going to be good too. So I always kept that in my mind. But by 11 years old, I figured, because I already consciously started cultivation at 8 years old under my first physical teacher of meditation, my second oldest sister. My father taught me critical thinking in the manner of observing, reasoning, and logic, and understanding both sides of the situation. Also to think before I speak. Even as a child, he would always tell me that. So my first teacher of philosophy, the first teacher of how to function in the world, in the sense of utilizing the mind so I don't hurt others and myself, was my father. And my teacher of meditation was my sister, second sister. So by 11 years old, I was thinking, hey, I want to be a teacher. That's really ultimate for me. And then a teacher, what am I going to teach? Am I going to teach subjects like math and science and social studies and history and whatnot? No. I'm going to teach that which, when the world is without their technology, when there is no computer, when there are no machinery that can function because of the lack of electricity, when people cannot go to a hospital, when people don't know what to do with their lives, when people are emotionally distraught, when they don't know how to grow food, when they don't know how to fix themselves, I want to teach those things. So I started to go deeper into my meditation. I figured that is the key to understanding how to do everything. I'm not going to get that in school. I knew that. So I educated myself with meditation. And when I told my father what I wanted to do, he just nodded his head. He knew where I was going with this. And he said, kid, you're going to need a lot of money when you get older. And I was kind of taken back by it, and I was felt maybe I didn't have the skill or the ability to succeed. But I kept pushing on. And from that 11 years old up to this point, I've encountered people who have literally tried to pull me down so far and so down into the ground to stop me from going further. And maybe they didn't want to just constantly stop me, but maybe they just felt it was stupid. So they tried anyway. I've encountered so many types of people, close friends, even teachers, not of cultivation though, of other things, who would just try to stop. They try to throw big boulders in the path, do whatever they can. But I keep pushing. And I also met people who empowered me to keep going, and even gave me advice, and really tried to teach me how to continue looking within so I can find the skill and find the wisdom needed to be my own teacher. All my teachers of cultivation, whether they were met in one day and never spoke to again, or were friends for a few years and went on their own way, I consider them teachers. And those were all just of cultivating the mind and energy, not of martial arts. And one martial art teacher, my first Tai Chi teacher, he was also of cultivation, and he taught me much in cultivation too. So all of these teachers in cultivation, including my Tai Chi teacher, my first Tai Chi teacher, Sifu Rudy Curry Jr., all of those teachers, they empowered me to find the skill in myself to be the teacher I want to be, and to be the teacher I always wanted. And now I'm doing what I love to do, what I set out to do at 11 years old, because I did not let people control how I view me. And I just say me just for the sake of saying this person who is called Lin Aiwei. Okay. So now we have these views. We have to change how we view, and we're doing that already with the first few steps we talked about right in the beginning. So those things are how we change. And the nourishing contemplation is what we utilize also to help change. Now action. The next one is action. You have to live the way you are denying. Now remember, if it's wholesome, then you really work it. But if it's not very healthy and not very good, do not empower that, please. If you were I was denying drinking a 6-pack of beer in the morning. I'm going to go do that now. Don't do that, please. That's not what I mean. I mean, you live the way you denied yourself. This means you are living wholesomely, healthy, okay, in food, in diet, and in mind, and in action. Okay. What you really felt to live like, your lifestyle you really, really, really felt such a strong passion for that you feel others would laugh at you, or you feel like it's just too hard or too far away or too foreign for you, but you really like it, well, go and investigate it. Read about it. You know, put your world and everything around you that lifestyle. Make it that way. Make it that way. Maybe buy clothes according to that lifestyle. Maybe the lifestyle didn't have a specific type of clothing style, so make one up and wear it. Maybe you go to work and you're required for your work to wear a suit and tie. So, you get up in the morning, you wear your suit and tie, and you go to work. And 5 o'clock, if that's the time you get out of work, you come home. You wear your at-home clothes, you wear your going outside to play clothes, and let those clothes be what lifestyle you want to live. Maybe it's drawstring pants and sandals and a tank top. Okay, you wear those clothes. Maybe it's yogi type of clothing. You know, maybe not the tight stretchy pants I'm not talking about, but loose fitted pants. Maybe it's just, you know, what's the hemp clothing? Maybe it's that kind of clothing, but styled in a way that's not really fashionable, because you don't want to dip into the fashion, be a fashion statement. You just want simple kind of color, simple kind of style, and you feel very close to nature, and you feel, in your heart, you feel it is spiritual for you. And it is spiritual because you're changing you deep inside. That vibration that had ruled your world before, you're changing that, and that is very spiritual. So other people will view you in strange ways. That's their problem. What other people think of you is their problem, not yours. What you think of other people, that's your problem. How you react to other people's reaction to you is your problem, not theirs. I'll use myself as an example. When I was a young teen, I was still wearing baggy clothes and, you know, little fashionable clothes here and there, but I was young. Before 18, that's still young too. And I was looking for something that's not fashionable. You know, something not very name brand. Finally, around, I think it was 18 or 19, I found Chinese clothing, and I really didn't associate it to martial arts, and I didn't associate it to Chinese culture. I just liked it because there was no metal on it. There was no fashion, really, no name brands to it, no fashion, nothing fashionable about it in quote unquote modern society. So I really got drawn to it, and I liked the feel of it on my body, and then my energy. It just felt right for me. Loose fitting, very comfortable. Cotton. I never felt good with the silk. I didn't like silk. Cotton. It was really good. Some were made with hemp too, and I was really drawn to those too. People made fun of me, you would never believe how. And just making fun of me, like, you know, I don't know how to explain, it was just terrible. Even close friends, or even, not really close friends, just friends, and even some teachers, not of cultivation. And I was always the butt of people's jokes. But I still continued. It became that way I liked. I lived and I made my life, my daily living, exactly how I felt inside. That was right for me then and now. And I still wear those clothes now. Sometimes not often, but I still wear those clothes. Not often in certain circumstances, for specific reasoning, as a function for certain outcomes. But generally, every day I wear the clothes I feel best with. And I feel best with them because it is the way I am expressing the mannerism in which I choose to live, so others can also find it as an example to follow what they know is right inside. And that do not be afraid to do that. That's all. I go to work and I wear the Chinese clothes. That's just my thing. It's what I do. Long robe, or sometimes just a shirt and pants, comfortable shoes, sometimes the old style shoes. It depends. But that's what emphasizes the inner feeling of peace inside. So I use them as tools. People have tried to change me and they failed. Why did they fail? Because I don't accept it. So in that, you have to accept yourself. And you have to change your views about you and live what you know is right inside. And in that, you empower the positive things, the wholesome things, and you understand why the negative things are around, or that which brings the opposite of wholesomeness to you. Okay? Now you also have to overcome others' views about you, though. See, others will influence you as best as they can to try to get you to follow their ways and the usual quote-unquote normal ways of society. That's a problem. That's not good. The normal ways of society have brought our society, no matter where we are in the world, exactly to the point of where they are, or of where we are in the world. It could have been better. It's not. But it can be better in the future if people start investigating their minds and stop letting others and others' influences and others' views and intentions influence their lives. Well, in that, we come to a close on today's discussion. Hope you all enjoyed it. Feel free to contact me through email if you have any questions on cultivation, if you have any questions in your own personal life. Your information is kept secure. It's never to be discussed on air or with anyone else. My email is GUIZ, which is Z, H, ENHUI at YEAH.net. Hope to hear from you soon. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to Expedient Means with Lin Wei on Time Monk Radio. And we'll just end with a little quote here, and it's, "Chains of habit are too light to be felt until they are too heavy to be broken." And that comes from Warren Buffett.